Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a DIY Dollar Tree family events calendar. It's this fun little sign inspired by Teresa Plans. She is the shout out of the week. Teresa is one of my very dearest friends I met here on YouTube and an avid supporter. We're going to use two of these signs, but I'll show you, you can use one if you want to. We're going to need these tags. You're going to need one ring for each one of your people or events, and then we're going to use the tiles from this backgammon chess checker set. We're going to use all those little square wooden pieces, and then you're going to use these sort of eye hooks, but we're going to open them up and make them into hooks. I'm sorry, those are eye hooks, yeah. And we're going to use a needle nose plier for that, and then we're going to use some Mod Podge and a foam brush to seal it, and then whatever color paint or decorations you want to do. So now we're going to use vinyl poster stickers, but you can use your Cricut or paint letters or write letters or whatever you want to do. Any of the wall arts would be cute if you had something that said sort of family quotes or something. So the one thing we're going to do is we're going to take off the one end of each end of the canvas, the opposite ends basically, the right side of one side and the left side of the other. We're just going to take the staples out, just a few inches, to basically the two staples on the corner and one staple on the inside towards one on the top and one on the bottom. And we're going to do this for us because we're going to overlap the canvas. We're basically just trying to make this as seamless as possible. Now my original intention was to cut up a piece of chipboard sign and make a hard, basically cover this with a piece of cut up chipboard sign, so it was a nice hard finish surface on the outside. But I am making this for my best friend Lisa, who is herself an artist, and I really thought leaving it canvas would be more her taste, more her speed, more to her liking. So I'm leaving this canvas. It's also cutting down on the price by probably $1. But you know, you guys, if you feel like you want a nice hard surface, what I was going to do is just make the double frame, trace it down on pieces of chipboard, and then basically glue them on there and then paint it. But the first thing we're going to do is make sure that we have both sides glued together. And then you could see I put one piece underneath the other piece. And now I'm taking off the sticker, which ended up being a little bit of a pain in the booty. But since we're going to paint over it, I really wanted to make sure I had a smooth finish. Speaking of smooth finishes, I'm putting down a layer of Mod Podge. I'm doing this for two reasons. First of all, the fact that the canvases are different colors. I wanted to make sure I get the best even undercoat. I also wasn't sure if this red was really on there good, if it was going to bleed. So I wanted to make sure I had it level. But mostly what I'm doing it for is to fill in where I overlap the canvases. As you could see there, I was kind of like trying to shove a bunch of Mod Podge towards the end, you know, the underside, and then smooth it all out, set it off to dry. Now what we're going to do while that's drying is we're going to make our pieces that we're going to hang. Now, if you notice here, 12 of these pieces fit perfectly across this board. So if you wanted to hang them straight like a square, you only want to use one little canvas, you could. You will have to write your months really small, but you still could. But I wanted to show you that what I'm doing is I'm hanging them down on a diamond shape for the birthdays and square shaped for the anniversaries. Okay, so what I'm done is I've just taken my little drill bit. I've stacked, don't try to do more than 6 at a time because that's when I got messed up. They started to slide before the drill bit went down and they basically messed a few of them up. So I've stacked 6 of them high. I drilled, you can drill them each one at a time, but I of course wanted to make it easier. But then I also wanted to show you how you could just use that skinny screwdriver that we got, that we have. They're like the ones at the Dollar Tree. And I use that just to create a hole. If you don't have a drill bit, you can basically get through this little bit of balsa wood with that. Just be careful. Use a Phillips head screwdriver in a screwing, drilling motion. And then you can create the holes as well. Now you can use the tags instead. You could just punch a hole on the other side of the tags and that would be cute. But if you watch Teresa's video, which she created, she purchased some pre-drilled pieces from Amazon. So if you want to go that route, obviously you guys go right ahead. But I'm trying to do this all Dollar Tree products, as you guys know. So I just sanded a bit of wherever I drilled. And here's where I'm showing you with the screwdriver. If you just take your time, a little patience, perseverance, and careful movements back and forth, eventually it just pops right through, and then you have a hole. Um, then what I want to do is I want to take the rings off of here. Now, I was at first trying to save the paper in the ring, but then I realized you don't have to do that. I just ripped the paper off, and then I cut the ring with the needle. What am I saying? The inside of the needle nose plier, the wire cutter. Couldn't think of the word wire cutter. Sorry. It happens sometimes. And now I'm just taking the ultra fine Sharpie marker to write what it's on there. So you basically write the person's name and the day of the month that their birthday lands on or their anniversary lands on. So like I said, I took the one and I drilled one to the shape of a square, and I put like Eden and Anthony in the 15th, because if you guys remember, they got married on July 15th, 2017. We have playlists on our channel of all the things we did for their wedding. And now I'm showing you the double ring at the top because when you're going to connect, if two events happen in 1 month, you're going to put a ring at the top and a ring at the bottom, and you're going to connect whatever events will happen that month as well. Okay? And now for paint. I've decided to just go with the Waverly white chalk paint that I have a ton of now and put one nice thick coat on it. I will tell you though, if you don't let your Mod Podge dry, or if you put the paint too thick of a coat on top of the Mod Podge, it will create a crackle finish. If that's the look you're after, go for it. If not, just be mindful of those two tips. Don't put your paint on too thick on top of the Mod Podge, and don't put your Mod Podge on too thick. But I'm just going to give this nice even coat, and I brushed it back and forth to give it a little bit of texture, because again, Lisa likes that. She's an artist. She likes texture in her canvas. She likes canvas and likes texture in her canvas. So I wanted to play that up for her. And I got all of the sides, top and bottom, and set it to dry. Now I love these poster letters. They are so fun. And for me, I would have put farmhouse twist on it. I would have used the regular black poster letters, but this is for Lisa. She loves color. She loves joy. She just loves to celebrate. So I picked these letters for her, but you guys pick whatever you want. I've laid my metal ruler down to give me enough space on the bottom to write the months, and to make a nice even line. It's funny that I wanted to make an even line, and these letters are all different heights, which is kind of fun too. But it still just came out as just as adorable as possible. Now, I knew I wanted to put a tree on the left because she loves the tree of life as a symbol of her family. So I wanted to do that, but of course, space out your letters depending on what you want to write. All right, if you want to put your family, like Teresa's inspiration is basically she has her family name and all the celebrations. But for Lisa, I wanted to make sure that I put the family tree on there and the celebrations. Okay. Now, this next step is sort of like an option. Of course, you can option it if you want to. But here's where I decided to draw a tree. I'm taking this is the marker that they sell at the Dollar Tree that fills in cracks on your furniture, or, gouges in your furniture. And I just used it as a tree, basically for the tree trunk. I know about this marker that when you overlap it, it creates darkness and lightness. And I wanted to use that for shade and dimension, as you can tell here on the tree. I also used the fat edges and the tips as well. And then what I've decided just to do is to take a Dollar Tree paintbrush. I have 3 different Waverly chalk paint colors of green, and I just went and splotched them everywhere. It's Spanish moss. You know what? I'll link the... No, I won't. I think I will. Check tomorrow to see if they're linked in the description box down below. I can't get my hands on them right now. That's why. But basically, I just picked out 3 colors, shades of green that I like. And it goes from being a messy trunk, like a scribbly trunk, to splotchy greens, to all of a sudden it's a tree. I love that about art. So now what I'm doing is I'm making a mark halfway, basically halfway in the middle of the bar that's going across the bottom. And what's great about that, these canvases are exactly 12 inches, which means 2 of them are exactly 24 inches, which is perfect because if you do is, all you need to do is put an inch in from each end and then 2 inches apart, and you'll get 12 spaced perfectly on this board. And then what I'm showing you is a couple of different ways to get these eye hooks in. So the first one that I did is I opened it like a hook already, and then I just spun it and spun it and spun it and spun it. If you keep working it, it'll get through the canvas, it'll get through the board, it'll eventually screw in there. It does take a little bit of time that way, but you don't need any more tools. The best way that I can find though is I took a tiny brad nail from that kit that they give you, this picture hanging kit where the eye hooks came from. And I just used my needle nose plier hinge to tap, tap, tap the nail in just to have a starter hole. You don't want to put the nail in all the way. You just want to be able to get a starter hole in there. And once you get a starter hole in there, it just breezes through after that. And then I found that opening them after I screwed them in was better as well. But you guys work with what you can. You do what works for you. What I decided to do was, because the way the rings are on the the diamonds hang forward, the rings go basically front to back. You want to make sure that your hook goes left to right, either left or right. I put all my hooks going towards the left. I don't know why. It works for me. And you just want to do this for all 12 of your marks. Now, the other next bit of creative license that I did, which you guys don't have to do, is I decided to handwrite the months, and I picked 12 different fun fonts. They're not extremely different. There's two of them that are almost the same, but different enough. And I picked 12 different fun fonts for each of the months of the year. But of course, you do what works for you. You could abbreviate your months with the tiny black stickers from the Dollar Tree, Jan, FEB, like that. You could also put the numbers if you wanted to, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That will work as well. You guys do what works for you, okay? Now, if you're an older person and you want to remember how old everybody is, if you flip the piece of wood with their name on it over, you can write what year they were born. I skipped that because Lisa knows when all of her children were born. But if you're a person who's got a lot of grandkids, then obviously you want to try to remember you can do that as well. Okay? Because obviously this is not even a perpetual calendar. This stays up all the time and it never changes. It's just so you could look over January 1st and you can see whose birthday is going to be that month. And it's just a fun way to celebrate with your family. Okay? So the last one's going in, and then we're going to write the months down. All right? So what I wanted to tell you, that if you do draw a tree, make sure you leave enough room to write the word January. Or whatever you put, you want to make sure you leave enough room to write everything. But I knew, because this is canvas, that I wanted to go ahead and write it where the wood was anyway, so I was safe. And then February, March, I just tried to pick all different fonts just to keep it interesting and just to make it fun, Let's see. I said May, I was going to do a flower in the middle of May. Now, if you are interested in slowing this down and seeing how I do it, there is 3 dots in the top right hand corner of the screen, and you can actually pick a slower speed to slow down the videos. So I recommend, if you do that, watch it once so you can hear me give you instructions, and then if you need to see the instructions slower, go ahead and slow it down, and then you can go ahead and see what I'm doing in detail. But for me to try to fit it all in for you in 15 minutes, I kind of have to speed it up. So, okay. So now, as you see here, I kind of messed up a little bit. I put my S, it was a little crooked, and then I ended up taking just an alcohol swab while the marker was still wet, and I wiped it away. The problem was I didn't realize it in the light. I see it on camera, but I didn't realize it in the light when I was there, is that I kind of look like I wiped some of the paint away too. So just be mindful of that. And for the last, I wanted to make sure December fit, so I put December in before I put November. I sometimes have a tendency to run off my words and my paper. Okay? And then after you have all of your months, just go ahead and make your chains of whose birthday is on what month, and then go ahead and just slide them on. You can always add as people are born in your family or as events happen in your family. You can go ahead and do this for anything: weddings, graduations, births, divorce, whatever you want to celebrate. And that's it. I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. If you do, give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out Teresa's channel. Teresa does great planning, planners, all the things planning. I love it. But go ahead, check out when she made this on her channel as well. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe. And when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And don't forget to share this video with friends and family, anybody who might be interested in making a celebration sign or something like it. And as always, you take care, God bless, and see you next time. Bye.